The alarm bells rang through the medical ship Mercy's Edge as Dr. Nari Kim rushed down the narrow hallway. Her boots made loud sounds on the metal floor as she hurried to the bridge. The captain had called for all senior medical officers, too. Report immediately, Nari was tired. They had been working for 18 hours straight, treating wounded soldiers from the battle near the Centauri system. Her hands still shook slightly from the last surgery she had performed on a young pilot, who had barely survived his ship's explosion. But that was her job. She was a combat medic. Combat medics never stopped working while people needed help. The bridge was crowded with officers looking at the main screen. Captain Dongman Park stood in the center, his face serious and worried. He was a good captain. The kind who cared about his crew and never asked them to do anything he would not do himself, Dr. Kim Captain Park said when he saw her. "We have a problem." Nari walked closer to the screen. It showed a planet covered in gray clouds and broken cities. The planet looked dead, like someone had taken all the life out of it and left only ruins behind. "This is Velthera," the captain continued. "The Galactic Council declared it a lost world 3 days ago. The Sithic forces destroyed everything. No survivors were expected. Nari knew about the Sithic invasion. Everyone in the galaxy knew. Sithics were a race of beings who destroyed everything they touched. They did not want to rule or control. They simply wanted to destroy. World after world had fallen to their attacks, and the Galactic Council was running out of ideas on how to stop them. "But sir," Nari said, "if the world is dead, why are we here?" Captain Park pointed to a small, blinking dot on the screen. "Minutes ago, we picked up a distress beacon from the planet's surface. It's very weak, but it's definitely a life sign." The other officers began talking among themselves. Some said it was probably a trap. Others said it was a waste of time, too. Check a dead world. But Nari felt something different. She felt the pull that every doctor knows, the need to help when someone is in trouble. "The Galactic Council says we should ignore it," Captain Park continued. "They say Velthora is too dangerous and that any life signs are probably false readings." "What?" "Sir," Nari said, "what if someone is really down there? What if someone is hurt and waiting for help?" The captain looked at her with tired eyes. "That's exactly what I was thinking, Doctor. But I need to know if you're willing to go down there. It would be dangerous. The Sithics might still be on the planet, and if the Council finds out we disobeyed orders," Nari did not need to think. "About it I'll go, sir. If someone is alive down there, they need medical help." 2 hours later, Nari was sitting in a small landing craft with 3 security officers. The pilot, a young woman named Heijin, was nervous about landing on a dead world. The security team leader, Sergeant Bioram, kept checking his weapons and looking out the window at the gray planet below. "Doctor," Sergeant Bioram said, "are you sure about this? The readings could be wrong. You might be walking into a trap." Nari checked her medical kit for the 3rd time. "Maybe. But if someone is hurt down there, I have to try to help them. That's what doctors do." The landing craft shook as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Through the window, Nari could see the destroyed cities below. Buildings were broken and burned. Roads were cracked and empty. It looked like a world where nothing could live. They landed near the source of the distress signal. In a rocky area filled with tall crystal formations, the crystals were beautiful, like frozen light reaching toward the sky. But they were also strange and alien, reminding Nari that she was far from home. "The signal is coming from underground," Heijin said, looking at her instruments. About 50 meters down, in what looks like a cave system, the team put on their equipment and started walking toward the caves. The air was thin and cold, and Nari could taste metal in every breath. The ground was covered with strange ash that crunched under their boots. As they walked deeper into the cave system, Nari began to hear something. It was very quiet, like a whisper or a sigh, but it was definitely the sound of something alive. "This way," she said. Following the sound deeper into the caves were filled with the same crystals they had seen outside, but these were different. They glowed with a soft light that made everything look like it was underwater. The walls were smooth and curved, as if they had been carved by wind and water over many years. Then Nari saw him in a small chamber deep in the cave system. By glowing crystals lay the most unusual creature she had ever seen. He looked like a wolf, but much larger than any wolf from Earth. He had 6 legs instead of 4. And his fur was completely white, so white it seemed to glow in the crystal light. But the creature was badly hurt. His white fur was stained with silver blood, and several of his 6 legs were bent in ways that legs should not bend. His breathing was slow and shallow, and his eyes were closed. "My God," Sergeant Borum whispered. "What is that thing?" Nari was already moving toward the creature, her medical kit open. "It's a Valkyrian," she said. "It's a Yilbal of them in xenobiology texts. They're supposed to be very intelligent and very peaceful." She knelt beside the creature and began checking his injuries. The silver blood was still flowing from several deep wounds, and she could see that some of his bones were broken. But he was still alive. Suddenly, the creature's eyes opened. They were bright blue, like deep ocean water, and they looked directly at Nari. She felt something strange in her mind, like a voice speaking without words. "Why do you come here, small one?" the voice said in her thoughts. "This is a place of death. You should leave before the darkness finds you too." Nari was surprised, but not scared. She had heard that some alien species could speak directly to the mind. "I'm a doctor," she said out loud. "I'm here to help you." Creature's eyes showed confusion. "Help! I am Wanzal, last keeper of the memory crystals. I have accepted my fate. Death comes to all, and my time has come. You cannot change what must be." "Maybe I can't change fate," Nari said, opening her medical kit. "But I can try to help you feel better. That's what doctors do." She began treating his wounds. Nari felt the creature's surprise and confusion through their mental connection. He had never met a being who would try to help a stranger, especially one from a different species. "You do not understand," Wanzal said in her mind. "I am old. I am wounded beyond healing. My people choose death with honor rather than life with shame. Why do you try to save what cannot be saved?" Nari continued working on his wounds, cleaning them and applying medicine to stop the bleeding. "Because where I come from, we believe that every life is worth saving. We don't give up on people just because things look impossible." For the first time in many years, Wansel felt something he had forgotten. He felt hope. Dr. Nari Kim worked quickly to stop the bleeding from Wansal's wounds. The silver blood was unlike anything she had seen before, but her medical training told her what to do. She cleaned each wound carefully and wrapped them with bandages. From her kit, "Dr. Kim," Sergeant Borum's voice came through her radio. "We need to move. The pilot is picking up movement on the surface. It might be Scythic forces." Nari looked at the wounded Valkyrian. Wansel was watching her with his bright blue eyes, still confused by her actions. His breathing was better now, but he was still very weak. "I need more time," Nari said into her radio. "This creature is badly hurt. I can't move him yet."
"Doctor."
"We have orders to return to the ship immediately if there's any sign of danger," Borum replied. "The captain will not be happy if we stay here too long." Through their mental connection, Wansal spoke to Nari. "You must leave, small healer. The Shadowbringers still hunt in this place. They will kill you if they find you here, Shadowbringers," Nari asked while she continued treating his wounds. "The ones you call Scythics. They destroyed my people, burned our cities, killed our young. I hid here with the last of the memory crystals, but I could not escape their final attack. Now I wait for the end." Nari felt sadness coming from the old wolf through their connection. But she also felt something else, the weight of great knowledge and responsibility. "What are memory crystals?" she asked. Wansal's eyes glowed brighter. "They hold the history of my people and the location of the hidden ones. When the Shadowbringers came, we helped many small peoples escape to secret places. The crystals know where they are hiding." Nari stopped working for a moment. "You mean there are survivors? Other species that your people helped save?" "Yes. Hundreds of thousands of beings from many worlds. But if I die, the knowledge dies with me. The crystals can only be read by a keeper, and I am the last." Before Nari could respond, her radio crackled to life. "Dr. Kim, this is Captain Park. Return to the ship immediately. We have Scythic destroyers approaching the planet. We need to leave now." Nari looked at Wansel, then at her radio. "Captain, I have a wounded civilian here. He needs medical attention. Doctor, our orders are clear. We cannot risk the ship for one alien. Get back to the landing craft now." This isn't just any alien. He has information about refugee populations. Hundreds of thousands of survivors who are hiding from the Scythics. There was silence on the radio for a long moment, and Captain Park's voice came back, harder than before. "Doctor, I understand your feelings, but we have our own people to think about. The medical bay is needed for human casualties from the orbital battle. We cannot spare resources for non-allied species." Nari felt anger rising in her chest. "Non-allied species? Captain, he's a living being who needs help. Isn't that what we do?" "Dr. Kim, you were ordered to return to the ship. That is final." Nari looked at Wansal again. The old wolf was listening to her conversation, understanding that she was being told to leave him behind. "It is as it should be," Wansal said in her mind. "Now people must survive. You cannot save everyone." "Watch me," Nari said out loud. She pressed the button on her radio. "Captain Park, I am declaring this being under human medical protection. According to emergency medical protocols, I cannot abandon a patient who is under my care."
"Doctor?"
"You cannot use medical protocols to override direct orders. With respect. Emergency Medical Protocol 77 Alpha states that any being under active medical treatment by a human medic is considered to be under human protection until treatment is complete or the patient is stable." Nari was making this up as she went along, but she knew Captain Park would need time to check the regulations. That might give her the time she needed. "Dr. Kim?" came another voice on the radio. It was Dr. Sujin Lee, the chief medical officer. "What is the condition of your patient?" "Critical but stable, Dr. Lee. Multiple fractures, severe blood loss, but responsive. He needs immediate transport to the medical bay." "And you believe he has information about survivor populations?" "Yes, ma'am. He's the keeper of something called memory crystals. They contain the locations of refugee camps." There was another long silence. Then Dr. Lee spoke again. "Captain Park, I recommend we take the patient aboard. If he has information about survivors, the Galactic Council will want to know." "Dr. Lee, we barely have room for our own wounded, and the Scythics are getting closer." "Sir," Nari said, "I volunteer to give up my quarters for the patient. I can sleep in the medical bay. I'll take full responsibility for his care." Sergeant Bioram walked over to Nari. "Doctor, the Scythic ships are definitely heading this way. If we're going to do this, we need to move now." Nari looked at Wansal. "Can you travel?" "It's going to be uncomfortable, but we need to get you to our ship." I do not understand why you do this," Wansal said in her mind. "I am not of your people. I cannot repay this kindness." "You don't need to repay anything," Nari said. "This is what we do." She helped Wansal to his feet, or rather, his 6 feet. The old wolf was much larger than she had realized. Even wounded, he was nearly twice her height. But he moved carefully, trusting her to guide him. "Dr. Kim," Captain Park's voice came through the radio one more time. "The Scythic destroyers will be here in 30 minutes. If you're not on this ship by then, we leave without you." "Understood, sir. We're moving now." Getting Wansal through the caves was difficult. His injured legs made walking slow and painful, but he did not complain. Through their mental connection, Nari could feel his determination to survive, and something else, a growing amazement at human behavior. "Your people are very strange," Wansal said as they moved through the crystal caves. "Most species would have left me to die." "Maybe," Nari said, helping him over a pile of fallen rocks. "But humans have a rule. We don't leave anyone behind if we can help it. Even your enemies. Even our enemies, if they're wounded and can't fight." When they finally reached the landing craft, Heijin was waiting with the engines running. "Doctor, we need to go now. The Scythic ships are almost here." Getting Wansal into the small craft was nearly impossible. It was too large for the passenger area, so they had to lay him across the floor. Nari knelt beside him, checking his wounds again. As the craft lifted off, Nari looked out the window at the dying planet below. Soon the Scythocs would finish destroying what little remained of Valthora. But they had saved one life, and that life might hold the key to saving many more. Dr. Wansal said in her mind, I begin to understand why the galaxy fears your people, fears us. We're the ones trying to help. Yes. And that is exactly why you are so dangerous to those who would harm others. You make it impossible for evil to hide. As they flew toward the Mercy's edge, Nari realized that her simple decision to help a wounded alien might have consequences she never imagined. But she also knew she had made the right choice. Some things were more important than orders. The medical bay of the Mercy's edge was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. Dr. Nari Kim had not left Wansal's side for 3 days. She checked his wounds every hour, gave him medicine for pain, and made sure he was comfortable. The old Valkyrian wolf was healing slowly. His silver blood had stopped flowing from the wounds, and 2 of his broken legs were getting stronger. But Nari could see through their mental connection that he was still very weak. You should rest, small healer Wansal said in her mind. You have been awake for too long. Nari looked up from the medical chart she was reading. I'm fine. Besides, you're my patient. It's my job to take care of you. Your job? Wansal's blue eyes showed confusion. Is this why you saved me? Because it was your job? Nari pulled a chair closer to his bed. No, that's not why. I saved you because you needed help. The job part just means I don't leave until you're better. Through their connection, Wansal felt something he had never experienced before. It was like warmth spreading through his mind, but it was not physical warmth. It was the feeling of being truly cared for by someone who expected nothing in return. I do not understand your people, Wansal said. All my years, I have never met beings who would risk so much for a stranger. How long have you been alive? Nari asked. By your counting of years, I have lived for 843 years. I have seen many species rise and fall. I have watched wars consume whole star systems. But I have never seen anything like what you did. Nari was surprised. 800 years? You're ancient. Yes, and in all that time, I learned one truth about the galaxy. Everyone looks out for themselves first. Species help their own kind, but they do not help strangers. They especially do not help strangers who cannot repay the kindness. Maybe that's true for some species, Nari said, but humans are different. How are they different? Nari thought about how to explain. We have a saying. It goes like this. No one fights alone. When we see someone in trouble, we help them. Doesn't matter if they're human or alien, friend or enemy. If they need help, we give it. That's Wansal. It was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Show me. Show you what? Show me your memories. Let me see what makes humans so different. Nari was not sure how to do that. I don't know how to share memories. Touch my hand, Wansal said. Our connection will do the rest. Nari reached out and placed her hand on Wansal's large paw. Immediately, she felt their mental connection grow stronger. It was like opening a door between their minds. She thought about her training as a doctor, about the oath she had taken to help anyone who needed medical care. She remembered the first time she had saved someone's life, and how it felt to see hope return to their eyes. Through the connection, Wansal experienced her memories as if they were his own. He felt her determination to help others, her sadness when she lost a patient, and her joy when she saved someone who everyone else had given up on. Your people choose to carry the pain of others, Wansal said with wonder in his mental voice. You take their suffering into yourselves. Someone has to, Nari said. If we don't help each other, who will? Wansal shared some of his own memories with her. Nari saw the Valkyrian Empire as it had been centuries ago. She saw beautiful cities filled with creatures like Wansal, all working together to preserve knowledge and protect smaller, weaker species. We were the guardians of the galaxy, Wansal explained. When the Scythex came, hundreds of different species ran to us for protection. We hid them in secret places, gave them food and shelter. What happened to them? They are still out there, waiting. But they are afraid to come out of hiding. They think the galaxy has forgotten them. Nari saw more of his memories. She saw the Scythic attack on his world, watched as the beautiful cities burned and his people died trying to protect the refugees. She felt his pain as he realized he was the last of his kind. The memory crystals, she said. They have the locations Of all the hidden refugee camps, yes, 47 different worlds where survivors are hiding. Some have been waiting for decades for someone to tell them it's safe to come out. How many people are we talking about? Nearly 2 million beings? From over 60 different species. Nari felt her heart racing. 2 million? Once all. Do you understand what this means? All those people have been hiding, thinking they were alone. If we can find them, we can help them. But the crystals are dying, Wansel said sadly. Need a keeper's life force to remain active? When I die, the knowledge dies with me. You're not going to die, Nari said firmly. I won't let you, small healer. You cannot stop death itself. Maybe not, but I can try. For the next several hours, Wansal shared more of his memories with Nari. She learned about Valkyrian culture, about their belief that all life was sacred and should be protected. She learned about the different species they had saved, and about the beautiful worlds that had been destroyed by the SYTH. In return, Nari shared her memories of human history. She showed him how humans had fought wars among themselves, but had also learned to work together when faced with greater dangers. She showed him how human doctors and nurses risk their lives to help others, even in the middle of battles. Your people are warriors, Wansel observed. But you fight for others, not for yourselves. We fight for what's right, Nari said. And it's right to help people who can't help themselves. As the days passed, something unexpected happened. The bond between Nari and Wansal grew stronger. They began to understand each other in ways that went beyond words or thoughts. Nari could feel when Wansal was in pain, and he could sense when she was tired or worried. This is not normal, Wansal said on the third day. Valkyrians can share thoughts with others, but not like this. Okay, our connection is becoming something more. Is that dangerous? I do not know. It has never happened before. Dr. Sujin Lee came to check on them that afternoon. She ran tests on both Nari and Wansal, looking worried as she read the results. Dr. Kim, she said, I'm seeing some unusual brain activity in both of you. It's like your nervous systems are starting to synchronize. What does that mean? Nari asked. I'm not sure. But I think you should limit your contact with the patient until we understand what's happening. No, Nari said immediately. He needs care, and I'm the only one who can communicate with him properly. Doctor, this could be dangerous. We don't know what this connection might do to you. Nari looked at Wansal, who was watching the conversation. With interest, through their connection, she could feel his concern for her safety. The small healer should listen to her elder, Wansal said in her mind. Oh, I would not want to cause harm to the one who saved me. You're not causing harm, Nari. Said out loud, you're helping me understand things I never knew before. Things? That the galaxy is full of people who need help, and that maybe humans were meant to be the ones who help them. That night, as Nari sat beside Wansal's bed, she made a decision that would change both their lives forever. Wansal, she said, I want to learn how to read the memory crystals. That is impossible, small healer. Only a Valkyrian keeper can access the crystals. Then teach me to become a keeper. Wansal's eyes glowed brighter. You do not understand what you are asking. To become a keeper means to join your life force with the crystals. It's permanent. You would be bound to them forever. If it means saving 2 million people, then that's what I'll do. For the first time since she had met him, Wansal felt something he had not experienced in centuries. He felt hope for the future, and the beginning of a friendship that would change the galaxy. The medical station Harmony Point was huge. Floating in space like a small metal moon, Dr. Nari Kim looked out the window as their ship docked, watching hundreds of other vessels coming and going. Some were bringing wounded soldiers from battles across the galaxy. Others carried supplies and medicine to worlds under attack. I have never seen so many different species working together, Wansal said in her mind as they moved him to the station's advanced medical wing. Nari walked beside his floating medical bed, holding his large paw. Their connection had grown even stronger during the journey, and now she could feel his emotions as clearly as her own. Dr. Sujin Lee met them at the medical bay entrance. Her face was serious as she looked at the test results on her tablet. Dr. Kim, we need to talk privately, Dr. Lee said. Nari did not want to leave Wansal, but she followed Dr. Lee to a small office nearby. Through the window she could See the old wolf being moved into an examination room? The tests we ran on the ship show something concerning, Dr. Lee began. Your brain patterns are changing. The connection with the Valkyrian is affecting your nervous system. How? Nari asked. Your minds are linking in ways we've never seen before. If this continues, you might lose the ability to think independently. You could become completely dependent on each other to survive. Nari felt a chill run down her spine. What are you saying? I'm saying that if we don't find a way to break this connection, you might die if something happens to him. He might die if something happens to you. Nari thought about this for a moment. Have you told him? We can't communicate with him without you. It's part of the problem. You're becoming the bridge between his mind and ours. Dr. Lee led Nari to another room where several alien doctors were studying brain scans on large screens. One of them, a tall blue creature with 4 arms, turned to greet them. This is Dr. Kethvor, Dr. Lee said. He's our expert on interspecies biology. Dr. Kethvor spoke in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. Dr. Kim, what you and the Valkyrian are experiencing is unprecedented. We have never seen 2 different species form such a strong mental bond. Is it dangerous? Nari asked. That depends on what you want to achieve, Dr. Kethvor said. The bond appears to be allowing you to access parts of the Valkyrian's brain that normally only his species can use. But it's also changing your brain to match his patterns. Nari felt excitement building inside her. Does that mean I might be able to read the memory crystals? Possibly. But the process could kill you. And even if you survive, you would know. Longer, be fully human. You would be something new, something in between. Dr. Lee shook her head. Dr. Kim, you can't be considering this. The risks are too great. What about the 2 million refugees? Nari said. What about all those people hiding on different worlds waiting for someone to find them? We'll find another way to help them. When Hao Wansal is dying, Dr. Lee, I can feel it through our connection. His life force is fading, and when he dies, the knowledge of where those people are hiding dies with him. Dr. Kethvor moved closer to the screens. There might be another option. Human medical nanobots have shown unusual compatibility with some alien species. If we could modify them to work with Valkyrian biology, what would that do? Nari asked. The nanobots could help repair the damage to his nervous system. But more importantly, they might be able to create a permanent bridge between your minds. You could access the memory crystals without losing your humanity. Dr. Lee looked worried. That's completely experimental. We've never tried anything like that before. Because we've never had a situation like this before, Dr. Kethvor replied. 2 species forming a natural mental bond, with one of them carrying irreplaceable knowledge that could save millions of lives. Nari made her decision quickly. I want to try it. Dr. Kim, if this fails, both you and the Valkyrian could die. The nanobots would link your nervous systems permanently. There would be no way to undo it. If we don't try once all dies? Anyway, and 2 million people stay lost forever. Dr. Lee sighed. I'll need to get permission from the Galactic Medical Council. How long will that take? Several days? Maybe weeks. Nari felt Wensal's pain through their connection. He was getting weaker. We don't have weeks. Yes. Can you do the procedure without permission? Dr. Kim, that would end my career. The Council forbids experimental procedures between species. Why? Dr. Kethvor answered. They call it biological contamination. Many species believe that mixing different types of life is dangerous and unnatural. But you don't believe that? I believe that life finds a way to survive. Sometimes survival requires change. That evening, Nari sat with Wansol in his room. The old wolf was weaker than before, and she could feel his life force fading through their connection. Small healer, he said in her mind. I have heard the doctors talking. They want to try something dangerous to save me. It's not just to save you. It's to save all those refugees too. But you could die. So could you, if we do nothing? Wansal was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I have lived for 800 years. You have lived for only 30. Your life is worth more than mine. That's not how it works, Nari said. Every life has the same value. That's what humans believe. Even the life of an old alien wolf, especially the life of an old alien wolf who carries the hope of 2 million people. The next morning, Dr. Lee came to Nari with news. The medical council has refused permission for the procedure. They say it's too dangerous and goes against their policies. Nari felt anger rising in her chest. So we're supposed to let Wansal die and forget about all those refugees? I'm sorry, Dr. Kim. My hands are tied. But Dr. Kethvor appeared in the doorway. Perhaps there is another way. What do you mean? Dr. Lee asked. The council has forbidden experimental procedures between species, but they have not forbidden medical treatment using existing human technology. The nanobots are existing technology, Nari realized. Exactly. And if Dr. Kim volunteers for the treatment, knowing the risks, then we are simply providing medical care to a human patient who happens to be mentally connected to an alien. Dr. Lee looked uncertain. It's a very thin line, Dr. Kethvor, but it is a line that exists within the rules. Nari stood up. Then let's do it. Dr. Kim, are you absolutely sure about this? Once we start, there's no going back. Nari thought about all the refugees hiding on distant worlds, afraid and alone. She thought about Wansal, who'd spent his life protecting others and was now dying because he had tried to save the memory crystals. I'm sure, she said. When do we start? Dr. Kethvor smiled, which looked strange on his alien face. Start now. But first, you should know something. The nanobots will not just link your minds. They will also enhance both of your abilities. You will become stronger, smarter, and more capable than either of you was alone. What are you saying? I'm saying that you and Wansel will become something new, something that the galaxy has never seen before. A perfect partnership between two species, working together to help others. As Nari prepared for the procedure, she felt something she had never experienced before. She felt like she was about to become part of something much larger than herself, something that could change the galaxy, and through their connection. She felt Wansal's amazement at human determination to help others no matter the cost. The medical procedure room was filled with machines that Nari had never seen before. Dr. Kethvor and his team worked quickly to prepare the special nanobots that would link her nervous system with Wansal's. Are you ready, Dr. Kim?
Doctor
Kethvor asked as Nari lay on the medical table next to Wan-Sol. Nari looked at the old wolf, who was watching her with his bright blue eyes. Through their connection, she could feel his worry for her safety. You do not have to do this, small healer, Wansel said in her mind. I have lived a full life. You should not risk yours for me. I'm not just doing this for you, Nari replied. I'm doing it for all those people who are hiding and waiting for help. The procedure will take about 4 hours, Dr. Kethvor explained. The nanobots will travel through your bloodstream and create connections between your brain and his. You will feel strange sensations, but try not to fight them. Nari nodded. What happens if something goes wrong? Then we stop immediately. But I believe this will work. Human nanobots are amazing things. They adapt to whatever they find. As the nanobots entered her bloodstream through a small needle, Nari felt a tingling sensation spreading through her body. It was not painful, but it was unlike anything she had ever experienced. I can feel them, she said to Dr. Kethvor. They're moving through me. That's normal. They're mapping your nervous system and learning how it works. Through her connection with Wansol, Nari could feel that he was experiencing the same thing. The nanobots were working on both of them at the same time, creating bridges between their minds. After an hour, something amazing happened. Nari began to see through Wansal's eyes as well as her own. The world looked different from his perspective. Colors were brighter, and she could see things that human eyes could not normally see. This is incredible, she whispered. What are you experiencing? Dr. Kethvor asked. I can see what he sees. I can feel what he feels, but I'm still me. Good. That means the nanobots are working correctly. They're enhancing your connection without erasing your individual personalities. As the hours passed, Nari felt her mind expanding. Knowledge that belonged to Wansol was becoming available too. But she was not losing her own memories or thoughts. Instead, she was gaining access to centuries of Velkarian wisdom and experience. Small healer, Wansol said, and now his voice in her mind was clearer than ever before. I can feel your strength flowing into me. The nanobots are healing damage. That I thought was permanent. Nari could feel it too. Wansal's broken bones were mending faster than should have been possible. His wounded organs were repairing themselves. The nanobots were using human healing technology to fix Valkyrian injuries. Dr. Kethvor, Nerys said, I think I can access the memory crystals now. How do you know? I can feel them. They're calling to me. Dr. Kethvir brought the memory crystals to the medical room. They were beautiful objects, like diamonds filled with swirling light. When Nari reached out to touch one, it began to glow brighter. Suddenly, her mind was filled with information. She could see the locations of all 47 hidden refugee camps. She knew how many people were at each location, what species they were, and what they needed to survive. Oh my God, she whispered. There are so many of them. What do you see? Dr. Lee asked. Families with children who haven't seen sunlight in years. Scientists who have been hiding in caves trying to preserve their research. Artists who are keeping their cultures alive in secret places. Through the crystals, Nari could also see the bigger picture. The Scythex were not just randomly destroying worlds. They were targeting specific species, trying to eliminate any group that might be able to organize resistance against them. The Valkyrians weren't just protecting refugees, Nari realized. They were protecting the future of the galaxy. These different species working together could stop the Scythex. But they don't know about each other, Schwansal said. Each group thinks they are alone. Then we'll tell them they're not alone. Nari felt the nanobots completing their work. Her connection with Wansel was now permanent, but instead of making her less human, it had made her more than human. She could think faster, see farther, and understand things that had never made sense before. How do you feel? Dr. Kethvor asked. Like, I can do anything, Nari said. Like we can do anything. She looked at Wansal, who was now sitting up for the first time since she had found him. His white fur was glowing with a soft light, and his blue eyes were brighter than ever. The nanobots have changed both of us, Schwansel said. I can feel human determination flowing through my mind, and you can access Valkyrian wisdom through yours. What does that mean? Dr. Lee asked. It means we're stronger together than we ever were apart, Nari said. We're going to use that strength to help everyone who needs it. Over the next few days, Nari and Wansal worked together to contact the hidden refugee camps. Using the medical station's communication system, they sent messages to all 47 locations. The responses were immediate and emotional. People who had been hiding for years, thinking they were the last of their kind, suddenly learned that they were part of a vast network of survivors. This is Captain Park, came a familiar voice over the communication system. Dr. Kim, the Galactic Council, wants to speak with you immediately. About what? Nari asked. About the reports they're receiving from refugee camps across the galaxy. Apparently someone has been organizing them. Nari smiled. Tell the Council that we'll be happy to talk with them. But they're going to have to come to us. Why? Because Wansal and I have work to do? We have 2 million people to help, and we're just getting started. Through their connection, Nari felt Wansal's amusement. The galaxy is about to learn what happens when human determination meets Valkyrian wisdom, he said. And what's that? Oh. Miracles become possible. As word spread about the refugee network, something unexpected happened. Species that had been enemies for centuries began working together. The shared experience of hiding from the Scythex had taught them that their differences were less important than their need to survive. Small healer, Wansal said, as they watched reports coming in from across the galaxy. I think you and your people have done something that no one else could do. What's that? You have given the galaxy hope. And hope is the most powerful weapon of all. Nari felt the truth of his words through their connection. The nanobots had not just linked their minds, they had created something new, something that could bridge the gaps between all the different species in the galaxy. This is just the beginning, she said. Wait until you see what we can do when we really get started. 6 months had passed since Dr. Nari, Kim, and Wansel had first connected through the nanobots. The galaxy was a very different place now. Nari stood on the bridge of the new ship Unity's Light, watching as another refugee transport arrived. At the safe zone they had established near the Centauri system. Through the large windows, she could see dozens of different species working together to unload supplies and welcome the new arrivals. Transport 7 for Alpha has arrived safely, reported Lieutenant Hajin, who had been promoted after her. Brave flying during the rescue from Valthera. They're carrying 437 refugees from 12 different species. Any medical emergencies? Nari asked. 3 cases of malnutrition and 1 broken bone. Nothing our medical teams can't handle. Nari smiled. The medical teams were now made up of doctors from 20 different species, all working together using techniques that combine the best of each culture's knowledge. Through her permanent connection with Wansel, she felt his satisfaction as he monitored the refugee network from his position in the ship's information center. He had become the coordinator for all 47 refugee camps, using the memory crystals and human technology to keep everyone connected. Small healer. His voice came into her mind. The Galactic Council representatives have arrived. Hey, want to meet with us about the new laws? Are they still angry about the nanobots? Some of them. But most are amazed by what we have accomplished together. Nari made her way to the conference room where representatives from dozens of different species had gathered. Some she recognized from her medical training, the tall blue Catherians, the crystal-skinned Vorthans, the plant-like Greenvale people. Others were species she had never seen before, refugees who had been hiding for so long that the galaxy had forgotten they existed. At the head of the table sat Counselor Yethmar, elderly Catherian, who had been leading the Galactic Council. For over a century, his 4 eyes were focused on Nari as she entered. Dr. Kim, he said in his wind chime voice, what you and the Valkyrian have done is unprecedented. You have violated dozens of laws about interspecies contact and medical procedures. Yes, sir, Nari said simply, and I would do it again. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. 2 million people were hiding and afraid. Now they're free and working together to make the galaxy better. Counselor Yethmar gestured to the other representatives. The council has been debating for months about how to respond to your actions. Some want to punish you for breaking the rules. Others want to make you heroes. I don't care about being a hero, Nari said. I just want to help people. Wansal entered the room, moving with grace, despite his large size. The silver scars from his old wounds still glowed with the light of the nanobots, making him look like a creature made of starlight. Honored Counselor, Wansel said, bowing his great head. I greet you in the name of all the hidden peoples who now walk free because of human kindness. Counselor Yethmar stood up. Keeper Wansal, your people, were guardians of the galaxy for thousands of years. Now you have chosen to share that role with humans. Why? Because humans do not guard for power or glory. They guard because they cannot bear to see others suffer. That is the truest form of protection. Another representative, a small furry creature, that Nari did not recognize, spoke up. But what about the dangers? What if other species try to copy this nanobot's procedure? What if it goes wrong? Nari answered. That's why we're here. We want to work with the council to create safety rules. We want to make sure that any species that wants to try this kind of connection can do it safely. You want to share this. Technology? Counselor Yethmar asked, surprised. Of course. The whole point is to help people. If we keep it secret, we can't help as many people as we could if we share it. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives worried about the risks. Others were excited about the possibilities. But slowly, an agreement began to form. The council proposes the following. Counselor Yethmar finally announced. We will create new laws called the Mercy Protocols. These laws will state that no wounded or suffering being can be abandoned by those who have the power to help, regardless of species, politics, or past conflicts. Nari felt excitement building in her chest. What would that mean in practice? It would mean that every medical ship, every rescue vessel, every species with the ability to help others would be required by law to provide aid when it is needed, even to enemies. The Mercy Protocols would be based on the human principle that Dr. Kim demonstrated. Every life has value, and every being deserves a chance to survive. Through her connection with Wansal, Nari felt his amazement at how quickly the galaxy was changing. There is more, Counselor Yethmar continued. The Council also proposes creating the Unity Project, a network of ships like this one, crewed by multiple species working together. These ships would travel the galaxy, It's providing aid and helping species that have been isolated to reconnect with the larger galactic community. And the nanobots procedure? Nari asked. It will be studied and refined. We want to make it safer and more reliable. But it will be available to any two beings who volunteer and who can demonstrate that their connection would serve the greater good. A year later, Nari stood once again on the bridge of Unity's light, but now she was watching a very different scene. Instead of refugee transports, she was watching the first joint military exercise between 12 different species, all working together to defend their worlds against the Scythic threat. The Scythics had not disappeared, but they were no longer unstoppable. The network of species that had been hiding was now working together, sharing technology and strategies. What had once been easy targets for the Scythics were now strong, united communities. Small healer Wansel said in her mind, "Do you remember? When you first found me in those caves? Of course, you were ready to die. I had lost hope. I thought the galaxy was doomed to become a place where only the strong survived and the weak were forgotten. And now, I see that strength comes not from power, but from the willingness to help others. Your people taught the galaxy that lesson." Nari watched as a group of young beings from different species worked together on the ship's engineering deck. They were designing new medical technology that would work for all species based on the principles they had learned from the human-Volcarian connection. "It's not just humans," Nari said. "Everyone is learning to help each other now." "Yes, but humans showed the way. You showed that it was possible to care about strangers as much as you care about your own people." Captain Park, who was now Admiral Park and commander of the Unity fleet, approached them on the bridge. "Dr. Kimkeeper Wanzel," he said, "we've received a message from Earth. The President wants to thank you personally for what you've accomplished." "What have we accomplished?" Nari asked. "8. You've changed the definition of what it means to be civilized. Before, civilized meant having technology in cities and armies. Now it means being willing to help others, even when it's difficult or dangerous." Through her connection with Wanzal, Nari felt his deep contentment. The old wolf had spent his life trying to protect others, and now he had found a way to protect the entire galaxy. Admiral Nari said, "Tell the President that we're honored. But we're not done yet. There are still people out there who need help." "There always will be," Admiral Park replied. "But now the galaxy knows what to do about it." As Nari looked out at the stars, she thought about the journey that had brought her here. It had started with a simple decision to help a wounded alien who had given up hope. Now, that decision had become a new way of life for billions of beings across the galaxy. Small healer Wansal said, "I have a question for you." "What? Do you ever regret the choice you made in those caves?" Nari felt the love and friendship flowing between them through their connection. She thought about all the people they had helped, all the species that were now working together, all the hope they had brought to a galaxy that had been full of fear. "Never," she said. "Not for a single moment." "Good, because our work is just beginning." Through the ship's communication system came reports from across the galaxy. Medical teams were responding to emergencies on dozen worlds. Rescue ships were evacuating civilians from war zones. Scientists from different species were working together to develop new technologies, and at the center of it all were the mercy protocols, the new laws that said no one should suffer alone, and no one should die without someone trying to help them. The galaxy had learned something important from a human doctor and an alien wolf. It had learned that the strongest force in the universe was not weapons or armies or technology, it was compassion. And compassion, once awakened, could change everything.